get into your Shavasana and take a few nice deep breaths. Trying to reach the bottoms of the lungs as you inhale. Till you can inhale no more. And then slowly exhale, blow the air out through the mouth. Keep going. Just becoming aware of all the parts of the body. Inhale, imagine you breathing into your arms, your hands, your fingers. And exhale, an action of decompression here. One more, breathe into your legs, your feet and toes. And if you can today, raise your arms overhead, clasp your hands, turn your wrists inside out, press those wrists back, maybe straighten the elbows, tuck your chin in a little, press your heels away from you, just make the back side of your body nice and long, maybe draw your abs into the body here. Good, and release your arms out into a T shape and step your feet onto the mat. Take it about the width of a mat and slowly begin to windshield wiper your knees. Next time your knees drop to the right, pause there and cross your right ankle on top of the left thigh. Turn your head to the left. Good, switch. Come back to center and let's straighten the legs out and down. Good, raise your arms overhead again. Inhale and bend your right knee into your chest. Make circles with your ankle pretty vigorously here. Good, now hold on behind your right thigh and with the flexed foot, extend that leg up several times here, like you're pressing the ceiling away. Focus on your knee, so there wants to be that moment where you can almost lock out your knee, which really gets into the hamstrings. Good, one more and keep that leg straight up. This time point and flex your foot for a moment. Do it in such a way that you actually feel your calf and your shin muscles stretch a little. Good, and then relax your ankle. On an exhale, climb up your leg. Lift your head and shoulders off the ground. Use your abs, of course, and climb up high to the calf. Possibly lift your left leg up also and take 2 breaths. No, don't worry about rounded shoulders, so you can round them forward to even use your chest muscles a little. Good, now lower the head back down, bend your knee back in, and we're going to go right to half lotus. Either grab your left hand or your belt and put it around your top of right foot. Press that right foot over left thigh, and let's press that right knee down. The idea here is, can you press the knee as low to the ground as possible without arching your back off the ground? So use your abs to ground your spine down. Of course, there might be a little gap under the low back, that's fine, but just no additional arching as you do this. For 2 more deep breaths. All right, so if you don't have your belt yet, grab it now, put it around the right leg and extend it up to the sky. So we already did the extension to the ceiling. Let's go to the right side. You can go as far over as you want. On your inhale, bring your leg back to the center, switch hands and draw the leg as far over as you like to the left. Two things you can do to make this a little harder: straighten the knee more and or pull the right foot toward your left shoulder more. And breathe. All right, let's come back and lower that leg completely down to the floor. Take a deep breath. Arms overhead, inhale. Bend your left knee to your chest now. Circle the ankle several times. Good. Now hold on behind your thigh around the hamstrings. Flex that foot and extend the leg up. In the straight position, point and flex. Relax your ankle now, and on your exhale, lift head and shoulders off the ground, curl your front ribs in, and walk up that leg as high as you can. Do the same things you did on the first side, so maybe you lifted your right leg here. Good. Lower head and shoulders down again, and let's go right to half lotus. I'm already using the belt. You could too, or use your hand. Ankle crosses over opposite thigh, and press that knee toward the ground. Locate your belt at this point, put it around your left foot, and now let's extend it up all the way. On your next exhale, leg goes left. Come back up and draw the leg over to the right. Good. Bring it back and let's release all the way down. And from here, we'll just roll over to our right side and grab the left ankle. Stretch your quad. The advantage is here on sideline, you get to press that left thigh so far back, so much more than if you had the floor to stop you. Good, and then let's try a different one here. So let go of your left foot and let's bend your bottom knee. And I'm doing this on the screen if you're not sure. Bend your right knee up. So the knee is in line with your hip. So it's a 90-degree angle. Now take your left foot and step it in front of or on top of your left thigh. So again, you can see this on the screen. I'm crossing my left ankle across the right thigh. Think pigeon. So I'm already feeling this in my hip. If you don't, just drag that right knee up higher. Okay, so if your right knee is way down here, you're not going to feel much. Bring it up high, cross left ankle over, and then very gently, within your sideline position, with your left hand, press that knee away. And if you feel like you're sliding, you can, with your right hand, hold your left ankle in place. One more breath. Right thigh resisting against left ankle, all to create stability here. And let's release. Turn sideways. I'll briefly turn away from you. And first, we're going to grab the right ankle behind us to stretch the core. Good, now release. Draw that left knee up halfway, cross your right ankle on top of the left thigh. Same thing here. We can press the right knee away. All right, let's release, and we're coming up to seated position here. Let's come into a seated cross-legged pose. Right shin in front of left. Flex your feet if available. Hands on your knees. Good. This is more about the neck and upper back. So as you inhale, lift your chin. Pull on your knees and let them push your chest forward. So I'm feeling my neck arch back and my upper back arch back. Now, on your next exhalation, draw your chin in, round the shoulders forward and lean your upper back backward a little. Let's do that twice more. Soft spine. Hold on to those knees. Good. Neutral neck. And let's look all the way over the right shoulder and then twist to the right. Good. Now look straight ahead, still holding that right knee with the left hand. Right arm reaches to the ceiling. If that bothers your shoulder, Carol, just take your right hand to the left shoulder and let's side bend left, right? So huge stretch for the right rib cage, right waist. Come back up and extend that right leg out to the side. Bend your knee, clasp your hands into a basket and reach over the foot. That same curling idea, the neck tucks in, the front ribs pulling. Good, bring it back up. Exhale, release, swing your right foot behind you, and wild thing if you want to lift your hips. Stretch out right side open one more time from your knee all the way up to your fingertips. And release down. Shake out your legs in front of you for a moment. And then cross-legged, left ankle in front. Good, here, roll the shoulders down and back, and side bend your head to the right. And side bend your head to the left. Heavy shoulders here. Good, this time wrap your left arm around your low back and side bend your head to the right one more time. Release, switch hands, right hand behind you, and side bend head to the left. Deep breath. Come back to center, head screwed on tight, screwed on straight. Turn it to the left and twist all the way to the left, the whole spine twists. Now turn your head back to center, lift your left arm and side bend right. Come back and extend your left leg out to the side again. Bend your knee, clasp your hands and lift the arms. Inhale, tuck your chin, drawing your chest in and curl down. Deep breath, send your breath into the back ribs. And come back up, inhale. Arms release down and let's go to wild thing. Left foot behind you, right hand planted like an anchor behind you and lift your hips. Release down. Good. And from here, we'll come into all fours, into tabletop. Good. Spread your hands. And let's begin to arch and round. You can think of a very fluid spine. Do one more after this one. Good. And neutral spine, tuck your toes under, gently sit back to your heels, stretching your feet open, and just rotate your wrists. Good. Shake them out, back to all fours, stand up your feet. And let's go to tabletop. Brace the core, stretch right leg back, left arm forward. Just hold it and breathe. Good, bring it back to all fours. And now step your right foot between your hands. From here on out, I'll guide you verbally. So step right foot between your hands, back knees on the floor. Take your hands to the front thigh and lift your chest tall. Sink your hips forward and down, targeting that left front hip to stretch. Good. And release to downward dog. You can always do puppy, which is this one. So if you're on all fours, you could go into the forearms, back up your knees a little, and stretch your chest back. That might be a nice stretch for the shoulders without too much weight on them. If you're in down dog, shift forward to plank. Plank or forearm plank. Draw that core in, drop the sacrum. Take another 2 breaths here. Press the floor away with your hands. Good. On your next exhale, lower your knees, bending your elbows backward and lower the chest to the ground. Take out any tension from the low back and let's push up into an up dog. If up dog is too intense on your back or wrist, just come to cobra instead. Another breath, lift the crown high in up dog. And child's pose. Press back, relax and breathe. All right, back to all fours, tabletop. Spread your fingers, core braced, and let's stretch this time the left leg back, right arm forward. Gaze at the mat and feel the sides of your neck be nice and long. No need to look up and crank the back of your neck. One more breath in. And with the exhale, come back to all fours, tabletop. Step your left foot between your hands. Back knee is down into that low lunge, and let's place your hands to the front thigh. Lift your chest like there's a string attached on your crown, lifting your whole spine up, and sink your sacrum down and forward. Now you should feel that right front hip stretch. Maybe, of course, your left glutes too. But don't lean your chest forward. Someone told me recently they find it a much bigger stretch if they lean forward. If that's what it is, then please do. Otherwise, take one more breath here. And let's bring it back to downward facing dog once more. Do your variation if you want. Tread it out, really reaching the heels down, stretching the Achilles tendons down. Lift those sitting bones up as the heels draw down. Good, and now just walk your feet forward to the hands and hang out in your first forward bend. Look down at your feet, make sure they're at least as wide as your hip points. Grab opposite elbow and maybe just sway side to side a little. Good, and let's come rolling up to a standing position. Good, stand, let the arms drop down. Any tension from neck and shoulders, let it drop. Soft, the base of the skull here, let that become soft. And just take a moment to stack your skeleton in mountain pose, feet together or slightly apart. Feel your knees over your ankles, your hips over your knees and ankles, your shoulders over your hips and on the lower joints, and the head just floating on the neck with the ears in line with your shoulder joints. Keep your hands at the heart center. Take one breath. Ground yourself. Inhale, sweep the arms wide out and up to the ceiling. Exhale, swan dive down. Take another breath in that forward bend. Now step your left foot back. Stay on the ball of your foot. Widen your stance to the sides of your mat if you need more balance. And raise your arms up into a high lunge. So before we did low lunge, now the back knee, the left knee is off the ground. The front knee is bending maybe as low as a 90-degree angle. So drop those hips, drive your left heel back, and then before you straighten your back knee, the left knee too much, draw your tailbone down and scoop your lower belly up and in a little. So neutral pelvis versus a back bend, right? Arms are up and you breathe. Feel that string on the top of your head again. One more breath. Challenge your strength in your lower body. Good, now reach your arms out to the sides, turn your back heel in and end up in a warrior two. Before we go into warrior two though, I want you to go to triangle. So straighten your front leg briefly. Two straight legs, back heel turns away from you. You all know the pose. Reach your right arm way forward and then down to the right shin of the block and look up to your left hand. Now connect mentally to your right sitting bone, the right butt cheek, if you will. Draw that right butt cheek to the left heel. So draw it backward and underneath you into the center of the mat. Take two more breaths. Inhale, come back to your triangle, arms out wide. And now set up your warrior two. So square your hip joints, lunge into your front leg. Warrior two, turn the gaze at the right hand. Feel that right knee bends deeply and your left inner thigh firm, reaching away from the front leg. Good, let's back bend in our warrior here. Wrap the left arm around your low back and reach your right arm overhead, next to the right ear, and bend back or really sideways in your torso. So warrior legs, torso bending backward to the back leg. Take another 2 breaths here. Back to warrior two. Inhale. Hands to the hips, straighten both legs and turn all 10 toes toward me. So the outer feet face the short sides of the mat. You're in that wide-legged stance. Good. From here, I want you to turn your heels slightly in and come into a goddess pose. So I'll do the seated version of it. Just turn your toes out slightly. Feet are much wider than your shoulders and sit down into that super wide squat. I would say your hips don't have to be any lower than a little bit higher than the knees, right? You all know this pose. Hands at the heart and goddess. And now wrap your right arm under the left. Eagle arms. If this is hard and goddess, straighten your legs. Otherwise, you're hovering low, shoulders over hips. Now press your elbows up and press your hands away from your forehead. So you should feel that nice stretch in your shoulders. You can exaggerate that by moving your elbows up and down a few times. Hands keep pressing away from your head. Good. Pause. Hands to hips. Straighten your legs. At this point, our heels will turn out a little. 2 straight legs. Inhale, look to the ceiling. Open your throat, your chest, your belly. And exhale, fold forward slowly with a long spine. And place your hands on the floor in front of you. Now, this is as much a spine lengthener as it is a leg stretch. So make your head extra heavy, serving as a weight to draw your spine down. Maybe turn your head side to side, unwinding that neck more. From here, we'll take it right into a lizard pose. So you're forward bend, walk your hands over to the right leg, turn your right foot open, and hover both hands or both forearms to the inside of that right knee. Your hips drop down. So imagine your sacrum sinking down and forward. You have 2 choices. You can either keep your left knee raised and the leg locked out with the quad muscles, of course, or you can just lower the left knee to the floor. Either way, lizard pose. Right leg is forward, and we breathe. One more. Great. Take it to child's pose or down dog. Spend 3-4 breaths in this pose. Try to really connect to the parts of the body, whether you feel those parts, or some of them are being stretched, some other parts like your arms and shoulders are being strengthened. Just become aware of all that's happening in your body. Enjoy it. From where you are, I'd like you to step your left foot forward and set up a high lunge. Hips are square. So often that means the right hip has to roll forward a little. So left foot is forward, right foot is behind you. High lunge, arms reach up, and you breathe. Remember all the things we talked about. Draw your tailbone under a little, scoop your pubis to the navel. Requires core. And just breathe. Now, as you're lifting your arms in this pose, think of your bicep muscles here extending up. That will take away the attention from your neck and take away that shrugging if we think of the front of the body, right? Good. Now turn your back heel in, open up to a warrior 2, and look over that left hand. So warrior 2, left knee bent. And now straighten both legs briefly. We'll turn this into triangle. So adjust your stance. Right heel turns slightly backward. Anchor to the back heel as you reach your left hand beyond your left foot and then down into Trikonasana triangle. Gaze up to the right hand and breathe. Remember to draw the left sitting bone to the right heel behind you. And inhale, come back up from triangle. Now adjust your stance again. So you go back to the warrior 2. Bend your left knee deeply. Widen the stance. And ground down through the back foot firmly. Gaze is once again at the left hand. Notice the ebb and flow of your breathing. And now let's add on, while we still focus on the breath, right arm behind us, left arm raises up to the ceiling and side bend over toward the right side. Imagine as you side bending right, I'm pulling you on your left thigh and knee so that stays in a deep bend. Back to warrior two. And straighten both legs, hands back to the hips. Turn your feet towards the short side of the mat again. Good. And this time, let's go to goddess one more time. Heels turn in, bend your knees pretty deeply into that wide squat. Left arm under, eagle arms, lift those elbows. And you can still move your elbows up and down if you want, since this is the second time we stretch our shoulders. If you want a little more challenge in your goddess stance here, you want to pulse your hips down and up 10 times. So sit just a little lower and stand up, but don't let your knees straighten. Keep that tension. Let's say that's about 3, 4. Keep lifting your hands away from the forehead. It's about 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Excellent. Straighten your legs, untangle your arms and reach them behind you into a clasp. Maybe not if you have a shoulder issue today. Good. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, lift up, press your hips slightly forward, tailbone down, inhale, and fold forward into that nice bend / shoulder stretch. Good. At any time, you can release your hands to the floor, so you're just in your forward bend. Lunging side to side is an option here, turning the feet maybe out a little bit. And now let's turn this into lizard. Walk your hands over to the left, turn your left foot open, walk it maybe over to the left side more, and plant both hands to the inside of that left foot. Right leg is behind you. Play with back knee down or up, but sink your pelvis down and forward. So take any tension out of the back of your hips. One more breath in lizard. Good, and now let's take it back to down dog or child's pose, 3 breaths. Slow yourself down. And let's lower to the knees after those 3 breaths and set up your hero pose. So fold your feet behind you, sit between your ankles. Those of you who want to do it lying on the belly, go for it. Leaning back or laying back. Good. So this was the preparation pose for camel. Come either to all fours like I am and stretch one leg at a time out. So you would step 1 foot back, hook those toes under and press your weight back. And it's such a good stretch for the calf. Straighten the knee again. Alternatively, you're in down dog, maybe even adding a vinyasa. And let's prep for our camel. Stand up onto your shins. Take your hands at the back of the pelvis. Knees can be wide. Inhale, lift your chest. And exhale, begin to sink your hips slightly back and then reach back with your hands. See if you can reach the feet behind you. If not many days, we can easily do that. So if today is not that day, keep your hands at the sacrum, but make sure you bend in the back of your heart. So that's where your back bend happens. All right, release into a child's pose. Feel that sense of surrendering, of letting go. Surrender to what is there in your life right now. Simply, that's the decision to not waste energy on things you can't change right now. I would suggest you start pigeon from a down dog. If not, slide your right knee forward, but wherever you are, we'll meet in pigeon, right leg forward. You can, for a moment, put your hands, once you're set up in pigeon, put your hands to the sides of your hips, push into the floor, and lift your chest. Almost think like an up dog. And eventually surrender forward onto your forearms. And feel that nice stretch. You could slowly rock your hips side to side. Good. Now lift your torso up again. Bend your left knee behind you. Reach your left hand back and grab that ankle. Imagine, so together, maybe you get plenty of stretch, but what you want to think of is chest lifts, sacrum drops down. So you get that maximum stretch through that left front hip for one more breath. Great, and take it back to down dog, or your alternative. One breath. And let's bring the left knee forward into pigeon. Same thing here, go right to the forearms or press up for a moment. Think of the pigeon chest, they have really puffy chest. Press that forward and up. And eventually forward to your hands or forearms and rest here. Simply tuning in to the rhythm of your breathing. And of course, during asana, we control that rhythm. So we don't just randomly breathe. We inhale to about 4 or 5 counts, and we exhale to the same count. Link one breath to the next, or to the previous. And let's press up onto the hands again, chest lift. Reach your right hand back and grab that back foot. Good, let go of the right foot behind you. So you're still in that front knee, the left leg that's in pigeon. Sit over into your left hip and then drag your right leg forward and step it all the way across your left knee. So we're setting up for twist. I'm sitting on my bolster. You can do the same or use a block. Right foot crosses over left knee and twist yourself to the right. Unwind. Extend your right leg forward. Extend your left leg forward and take a breath as you shake out your legs. And let's switch. Right leg bends in, left foot steps over, twist to your left. Remember, the twist starts in the neck by looking over your shoulder and turn your whole chest and rib cage for 2 more breaths. Squeezing any toxins out of those organs. 1 more. Good. Unwind. Once again, stretch your legs out in front of you. And now let's step the right foot to left inner thigh. Arms reach up. Inhale. This time we look for a left leg that's straight. Exhale, fold in. Use your belt if you need. Continue to lengthen your spine by lifting your ribs off of the waist in that forward bend here. Good. Inhale, reach up again. Release and switch leg positions. Right leg straight, left heel in. Arms up, big inhale, and fold forward. Inhale, come up. Release your hands down. And let's straighten your legs both out and wide apart. Sit on something to make your hips higher. That might help. And now let's fold forward. Walk your hands in. Come back up and step your feet up in front of you. Good. So if you're still sitting on something, you can certainly try boat pose sitting on a block. It does work, but you have to be ultra aware of your balance. Lean back a little, pick up both feet, keep holding on to the knees or the backs of your thighs, or with your feet raised, extend your arms forward. If you feel extra strong in your core, lift your legs up diagonally so you have like a V shape, your butt being the bottom of the V, the torso on one side and the legs lifting up on the other side. Arms parallel, 2 more breaths. That string on your crown is again being pulled so your spine is long. And step your feet back down. Drop your knees out. Find your prop again if you want. Soles of the feet connect. And let's fold forward. All right, let's come up. Extend both legs forward. And actually, let's lie on the back now. Have your block near you. And just lie for a moment and breathe. Good. Step your feet up on the mat, hip width apart, arms down by your sides. Chin not tucked in, so your throat is nice and open. You're gazing at the ceiling. Now curl, that same rounding we do when we arch and round. Tuck your tailbone slightly up off the floor and lift up into bridge pose. What you want to think of or see in your body is a straight line from your shoulders through your hips, through your knees. Often we have the shoulders, then it dips down into the hips and up to the knees again. So you don't want your hips to dip down. Use your glutes to press the hips up. Press the four corners of both feet into the ground. And let's release down, release down. Straighten your legs out for a moment. And let's take this into happy baby pose. Good. Release your feet down. Straighten your legs up. Oh, actually, don't straighten your legs out. I want you to step the soles of your feet together and drop your knees out. One hand on the chest, one somewhere on the belly. And just take a couple breaths. All right. Now bring your knees together. At this point, grab your block and put it between your thighs. Either the smallest way or the second smallest way. I'm holding the block, if you can even see, this way or this way, right? Put it between your thighs. So you're lying on your back at this point. Arms out, palms down. Bend your knees toward your chest. And now look to the left, and only on an exhale, let your knees slowly float over to the right without losing that block. Spinal twist. Use your breath to let the body unwind here. This can be very tight. Good. Engage your abs, head turns to center, and knees come back up. As you inhale, turn your head to the right. As you exhale, float your knees slowly to the left. Really observe the body. Good, let's bring it back to center and release the block here. We have a little bit more time to either do a shoulder stand plow or a supported shoulder stand and then fish to finish. So if you do supported shoulder stand, you know to put the block under your hips and extend your legs up. So pick your option, and I give you maybe 30 seconds or so to just do variations here. Shoulder stand variations. Good. If you're already down from shoulder stand and you'd like to add on fish, either put the block underneath your upper back across your lower tips of your shoulder blades and let your head softly drop back, or just do fish on your forearms and elbows. Remember, the weight you bear on your forearms and elbows, not your head, even if your head touches the floor behind you. All right, so after fish, let's do the exact opposite. Release your head down and then bend your knees into your chest, have your arms around the shins, and curl your head up toward the knees. Make yourself into a tiny little ball. Feel that squeezing together, drawing the energy in. And then release into Shavasana. This is all about spreading out energetically, physically. Using the entire capacity of your lungs. Softly take a deep inhale. And exhale. Maybe through the mouth. And again. And I'll let the breathing soften into a very quiet, easy breath. Think mind, relax now. Let the body fully relax into the floor. Notice how nice it feels to just let your body be this relaxed. Forehead and jaw unclenching. You feel a sense of openness in your chest, deep inside. Feel a sense of well-being or gratitude. Deepen your next breath. Slowly reach your arms overhead. Inhale. Bend your knees up to your chest. Exhale. Roll over to one side. And up to seated we go. With your hands at the heart, maybe call to mind one thing that you're grateful for. Namaste.